Hello and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today, by popular demand, I am bringing you the top 10 cursed books part 2. Before we jump into this video, I want to ask you guys, what is the scariest book that you've ever read? I just listened to Salem's Lot on audiobook by Stephen King, and I have to say it was really scary. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and also while you're down there, why don't you leave a thumbs up and share this video with a friend. Also, if you guys want to connect with me on social media, the link to my Instagram is right on down there. Alright, cursed books, what you got? Coming in at number 10, we have Real Life Death Notes. Death Note is a Japanese manga series written by Toskimi Oba. I'm really sorry if I pronounced that wrong. The story is about a high school student who comes across a mysterious notebook, the Death Note. He soon finds out that he can use the notebook to kill people by simply writing their names down. This series was adapted into an American movie and it is now on Netflix. Anyway, a lot of teenagers in real life have been inspired by the manga series and the film, and they've started their own Death Note books. There have been countless incidents. For example, in Pingtung County in Taiwan, they saw a string of Death Note inspired issues. In 2015, a middle school student in Pennsylvania was suspended for making his own Death Notebook and writing the names of 15 students in it. Some people say that the story of Death Note stems back to some truth too, with legends circulating that in ancient Chinese civilizations, the Yellow Emperor had a notebook of death. I actually have to thank one of our subscribers for bringing this next book to my attention. I was reading the comments on the top 10 cursed books part 1, and one of our subscribers highlighted this to me, so thank you Kim Jana for the recommendation. Coming into number 9, we have the book of the Sun of Gnosis. This is a 13th century grimoire containing Arabic magic spells and provides guidance for the afterlife. The book is all about demons and jinns and evil beings, and despite being a highly influential text in the Arabic and Muslim worlds, it has long been banned in a lot of Islamic cultures for its subject matter. The book allows the reader to communicate with spirits, but that doesn't always mean good spirits. Coming into number 8, we have the cursed Babylonian tablets. Babylon was said to be an ancient city in what is present-day Iraq and Syria. The Babylonian era ran from 1895 BCE to around 7 BCE, so hundreds of years. Back in those days, books weren't really a thing. Instead, people read from inscriptions on tablets, so rocks or stone. These tablets were often known to carry a curse. A Babylonian king placed a curse on a set of clay tablets back in the 7th century BCE, having the text inscribed with, "Whosoever shall carry off this tablet, or shall inscribe his name on it side by side with mine own, may Asher and Belet overthrow him in wrath and anger, and may they destroy his name and the prosperity in the land." Bit dramatic. It turns out that actually these tablet curses were very common. Because reading material was hard to find, ancient people often tried safeguarding their property by claiming it was cursed. Basically, it was a ye olde way of making sure little twerps didn't steal your things. Coming into number 7, we have the Babadook Book. There was a time when the book from the 2014 Australian horror movie The Babadook was fiction. The book in the movie is cursed and/or haunted, as it is constantly delivered to Amelia and Oscar's home. In the movie, the book depicts the horrifying events that are about to befall the family in a creepy pop-up style. Now, movie lovers have gone one step further and demanded that the illustrator turn the fictional book into a reality. That's right, you can now buy the haunted book for yourself in real life. Following a successful crowdfunding campaign, Insight Editions was chosen to create a limited run of 6,000 books. I think it's a really cool idea, but I'm not sure if I'd want that in my home. If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. So get that book out my house, thanks. Coming in at number 6, we have A Portrait of Marriage by Curiosity Incorporated. I was trying to do some research into lesser known haunted books because I guess only the bigger stuff makes headlines, and I thought, you know what, there must be like, you know, your average bog standard ghost that is chosen to haunt your average bog standard book, and it turns out I was right. I found a video by small and up and coming YouTuber Curiosity Incorporated, and he's an antique antiques trader. He made a video called Saga of the Haunted Book, who knew books could be so creepy. In this video, he talks about how he bought a bunch of old books off a dealer, and as she left, she basically just turned around and said to him, "Oh, by the way, one of these is haunted." I'm not sure how I would deal with that. Like, tell me it's haunted before I buy it. The book is called Portrait of a Marriage by Vita Sackville West and Harold Nicholson. It seems that the spirit had an attraction to the book. Now, the antiques dealer said, "I certainly wouldn't want to be the guy who got stuck haunting this book." So far though, he hasn't mentioned any further weird goings on. Forget about one spooky book, all of the books in this library are plagued by a pesky spirit. Coming into number 5, we have the Leeds Library Ghost. Leeds, Yorkshire, England, one of my favourite places. Yorkshire is steeped in ancient history, so you'll regularly hear ghost stories coming from this area of the United Kingdom. The Leeds Library dates back to 1768, so it's older than the USA. The ghost haunting the premises is said to be the first ever librarian of the building, Vincent Sternberg. In 1844, the new librarian, James McAllister, came face to face with the ghost of Sternberg as he worked late at night. Now, the ghost is said to linger most frequently around the old books, and in 2012, researcher Jeremy Dyson spent 12 hours in the library documenting the hauntings. He uploaded a really interesting and revealing video to YouTube that actually captures some of the ghostly goings on in the building. Another investigator, Sean Reynolds, captured a ladder moving alongside a bookshelf at the library. Coming in at number 4, we have the Necronomicon Pop-Up Nightmare book featuring Cthulhu. Anyone who loves the Evil Dead franchise will know about the fictional Book of the Dead. This Book of the Dead has actually long since been mentioned in literature, possibly first in the 1924 H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound. Either way, Proposition Press have taken it upon themselves to turn the Necronomicon into a truly terrifying pop-up book. The book has 5 pop-up scenes, including pull tabs, and they depict moments from the 5 original Evil Dead stories: the Dunwich Horror, the Shadow Out of Time, the Call of the Cthulhu, At the Mountain of Madness, and the Color Out of Space. Now, they may not actually be cursed like the source material, but I have to say the images will haunt my nightmares forever. Muggles beware at number 3, this Grimoire Will Get You. In 2013, 2 handwritten spiral-bound spellbooks or grimoires were sold for $13,865 in Toronto via abebooks.com. A grimoire is a witch's spellbook and is generally believed that actually the book has to be burned after the death of the witch, or else the book becomes cursed. Now, these grimoires appear to have been written in the 1960s by a high priestess of Wicca called Destra Irene. She was said to be an American witch with English and Swedish ancestry. Now, it's not known what's happened to her, whether she's alive or dead, but the opening pages of both of the texts contained a warning that reads, "To those not of the craft, the reading of this book is forbidden. Proceed no further, or justice will exact a swift and terrible retribution, and you will surely suffer at the hand of the craft." So basically, no muggles allowed. Next up, this depressing book led to a spate of suicides. At number 2, we have The Sorrows of Young Werther. The Sorrows of Young Werther is a best-selling book written by a 25-year-old Wolfgang von Goethe. The book was published in Germany in 1774 and is a semi-autobiographical tale of a failed romance. It's told via letters from a man named Werther to his friend Wilhelm. When Werther finds out that his love has married another man, he borrows 2 pistols and shoots himself, although he botches it, and it takes him a grueling 12 hours to die. The book led to some of the first known examples of copycat suicides. The men would dress in the same clothing as described by Goethe and use a pistol to shoot themselves. Often the book was found at the scene of suicides. Now, after the book's publication and the spate of copycat suicides, sociologists began to suspect that suicide may be culturally contagious. Finally, at number 1, this is one of the most interesting things I learned today. So next up, this one author cursed himself and everyone involved in his book's publication, and he's now the target of a serious Iranian murder plot. What am I talking about? Salman Rushdie and the Curse of the Satanic Verses. Salman Rushdie received a very, very, very intense response from the Muslim community for his 4th novel, The Satanic Verses. The book, in fact, garnered such an intense response that a fatwa was ordered. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically a death order, and the current monetary value of it is thought to be over $3 million. This was issued by Ayatollah Khomeini, the former supreme leader of Iran. Now, Rushdie became the target of the Muslim order and it's still in place. It wasn't just him either. The Iranian government demanded the death of the author and all of those involved in its publication. While Rushdie wasn't hit, his Japanese translator was stabbed to death in 1991. The Italian translator was also stabbed in July 91, but he survived. The Norwegian publisher William Nygaard was shot 3 times in 1993, but survived. And it's thought that the fatwa was behind a deadly fire at a hotel in Turkey in which 35 people died. Salman Rushdie is still alive, but he is still under police protection. Some Muslims out there still want to kill him. It turns out that fatwas can only be retracted by the person that issued them, and Khomeini is dead. So guys, that was the top 10 cursed books you should never read part 2. I found this list so interesting, so I hope you guys did as well. Before I go, I just want to read some comments from part 1. You had so much to say. A load of you told me that you're actually reading both The Catcher in the Rye and Fahrenheit 451. Hopefully, you'll stay sane. I'm actually kind of just joking, because with Fahrenheit it was just one edition that caused all of the issues, and with The Catcher in the Rye, I don't know, maybe it's just coincidence. Just don't be a psycho, basically. J129 said, I'm reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Good on you, let me know how that goes. What house are you in? I'm a Slytherin. Imogen Cross said, I'm reading and writing my own book called Two Hearts, One Love. Good on you, Imogen. When you finish, why don't you send us a copy and we'll have a little read. Hopefully, it's not cursed though, because I've had enough cursed books for one day. Speaking of, I think it's time for me to get out of here, so why don't you guys leave me a comment if you want it to be read out in a future video. Also, while you're down there, why don't you leave a big thumbs up and share this video with a friend. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!